Welcome to TEDxShar now.
Is Afghanistan relevant in today's world? Are we essential for the advancement of science, technology, and humanity as a whole? Given today's circumstances in Afghanistan, that is a fair question to ask. It has not been easy to choose a topic that relates to our circumstances today, while also sharing some of my work and personal experiences. It's been tricky because science, the lack of attention to science in Afghanistan, and the history of science and its revolution around the world is so vast that every corner of these topics has delicacies and intricacies and is full of amazement. I would have shared every detail, but that's not possible now. On a more related note, my friends at TEDx call me an astronomer, but I'm simply a science advocate and I've had a lifelong interest and love for astronomy. I'm what you call an amateur astronomer. Now, what do we do as amateur astronomers? As an amateur astronomer, you usually become interested in the field and start learning about the universe at some point in life. You become thirsty for knowing what's out there, and since we are located and confined to the space around us down here on Earth, for most of our lives, we barely question what's up there in the skies, in the cosmos, and in the universe. I was around 9 years old when my dad bought me a book from some airport around the world. It was short, it was called Space, a simple book explaining the core principles of space and the universe. Since then, I have felt like I haven't been the same. Amateur astronomers facilitate what we call science communication. You see, science is very hard. If anyone tells you otherwise, please send them to my university. They will know what I'm talking about. Science involves math, the language of the universe. It requires you to listen and hear the music of the universe, the rhythms and the nuances that shape cosmology, biology, astronomy, physics, chemistry, and much more. It requires attention to detail and attention to numbers and figures that sometimes need clarification. Science is hard, and it's not for everyone. Most physicists and scientists that you have probably known about and have heard their names on top of your head, like Albert Einstein, Sir Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, Stephen Hawking, Richard Feynman, Werner Heisenberg, and many, many hundreds more, have dedicated their whole lives into figuring out a slight piece of the science pie. Now, my point here is that science is complex, making it very difficult for the general public to fully grasp what science is used for and whether or not they would find it interesting. An American astronomer, Carl Sagan, first normalized and publicized science, specifically astronomy, through his books and documentary series in the United States and worldwide. In the late 20th century, Carl Sagan taught at Cornell University while also contributing heavily at NASA space exploration programs, such as the Voyager and Viking space programs. Sagan believed in and accomplished his goal of distributing and disseminating astronomy, not from a scientist's perspective, but as a member of the public. He was able to reach and inspire millions of people worldwide, and the era of science communication was born. Why am I giving you a history lesson? Shining a light on this will pave the way for my evaluation of the situation in Afghanistan, so please hold on and bear with me. For many thousands of years, human beings have been farmers, gatherers, hunters, and traders. We farmed our food by planting and cultivating trees, plants, bushes, and herbs. We hunted our food and vegetables and slowly began trading items and food with other human beings for other products and services. This was the core principle and base of civilization around the world for many thousands of years. As the socioeconomic situation of the world improved and some parts of the world became wealthier, some people could take on initiatives other than farming, trading, gathering, or hunting. Some privileged people could think, write, observe, and theorize about the world. We began forming ideologies, theories, constructs, and fundamental forms of science. Likewise, we see a massive spike during the golden age of Islam, where scholarship and thirst for wisdom were sought after by everyone under the banner of the Islamic Caliphate. An era unlike any other in history was born, the age of translation and scholarship. In Baghdad, the cradle of civilization, the house of wisdom, was created by the Islamic rulers to further the cause of translation and science. However, even these days, an average farmer is less concerned about the workings of Omar Khayyam's mathematics and astronomy and more worried about what to plant next year. This means that the majority of humans still valued and continued to work on farms, lands, and mountains to grow food and breed livestock. After the Industrial Revolution, a much more significant portion of the human population in developed back then developing countries, was better off. More people could now attend institutions like the House of Wisdom, but with fancier names and programs called universities and polytechnics. Only after the 20th century and after the popularization of science through the works of astronomers like Carl Sagan and other major national science initiatives like the Apollo space program, for example, caught the attention of the public and the younger minds alike. People got to get a real hands-on experience of science in action. They got to see how some things work and how to question reality. That began a phase of civilization that was practically a scientific revolution. We now had more engineers graduating college, more scientists pouring into labs, and more innovators and inventors going to the markets with their ideas. A whole new world opened to us. From the time it took us to create the first computer to the time we got to the first microchip, it was only a couple of decades. Just like how it only took around 60-something years for humans to fly on an airplane and then land on the moon. Compare that to thousands of years of human history. This rapid expansion is as fast as the magnificent spaceships we create today. Imagine that for thousands of years of human civilization we were gathering and farming. And in just 1 century, after the beginning of the 20th century, humans were able to fly in the air, dive underneath the water and stay there for weeks, create a bomb so powerful it could wipe all of humanity and level cities almost instantly, go to the moon and walk on it, send spacecrafts to Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and even send a few out of the solar system entirely. We were not only able to visit these planets, but we were also able to place telescopes around the Earth on orbit to capture the most distant corners of the universe in every single part of the electromagnetic spectrum, from radio waves to microwaves to X-rays and gamma rays. And we made computers fit in our pocket and created networks of computers that essentially made the world small and connected. This was done in a short time, only 124 years if you start counting from the beginning of the 20th century. And some of the more significant technological leaps have been made in the last 24, 30 years during the dot-com era, post-dot-com era to be specific. On the other hand, Afghanistan could only breed technicians, but never engineers. The cycle of development in Afghanistan is similar to what the rest of the world experienced many generations ago. We value our hard labor, but we never go to experience the full potential of what science, engineering, math, and technology can do. That is where my work with Ideas Beyond Borders, Voice of Science podcast, Astronomers Without Borders, and Afghanistan Astronomy Association comes into play. I am not only interested in facilitating and providing a voice for our small community of Afghan scientists to echo and channel their voices, but also in providing a breathing ground and the potential opportunity for the younger generation to follow the footsteps of the rest of the world in becoming relevant in today's ever-changing world. Voice of Science is not just a podcast. It's a content creation platform designed to spark Afghan youth's interest in pursuing science. Ideas Beyond Borders is not just a think tank, but an organization that supports individuals with creative ideas and funds people who can create, innovate, and bring change. The world is expanding rapidly. Innovations in artificial intelligence, microcomputers, quantum computers, microchips, quantum physics and technologies, chemistry and material science, biology and bioengineering are quickly advancing. I fear our country is lagging behind everyone else and falling behind in this race. Now, if we want to stay relevant in today's world, we have to be able to offer something in return to the world. I often give this example. The United States protects Taiwan from the crippling hands of the Chinese because it holds the key to microchip technology, which practically runs the world right now. China is relevant in today's economy and politics because it produces almost everything we know of. The United States is appropriate and relevant and around the world because it makes people who can create technologies, formulate ideas, and theorize, and the rest of the developed world follows along. When we look at Afghanistan, think of our country as irrelevant in today's politics, economics, and geopolitics. It's because we are irrelevant. We are not crucial for advancing science in a science-controlled and dominated world unless we inspire creators, innovators, entrepreneurs, engineers, and scientists and breed them to become thinkers and open-minded individuals. We will stay relevant and unimportant. We can create something here, but that needs your dedication and mine. I hate to be the motivational speaker here today, but I must emphasize that what you see happening around you today is temporary. Look at the grand scheme of things. No regime built on hatred, discrimination, and religion lasts. It's only a matter of time before we see a change in the political sphere that will allow us to flourish again. Only under liberty and freedom for all can we become functional members of society. But let's not forget that freedom and liberty have costs. The cost is our labor, our time, money, energy, youth, and sometimes even life. It's only achievable and possible when we adapt to the needs of today's world and forget about religion as a governance system, ethnicity as our pride, language as our barriers, and gender as our status. It's only possible then. People here today and those listening to us from afar can do this. History has proved it to be feasible. I wonder if we wouldn't be able to pull this off in our country. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.